Hi, my name is Fox. My pronouns are he or they, and usually on this channel I make pretty frequent videos venting about things that I've been through, including traumatic experiences that have led to me currently being diagnosed with complex post-traumatic stress disorder. I haven't been able to post a lot lately, going through some financial constraints, unfortunately. I'm not sure if many people are aware of this. Apparently a lot of people aren't, but in certain counties here in Pennsylvania, people who are on SNAP assistance, otherwise known as food stamps, have been having their accounts completely drained. And my family was apparently, from what I was told, one of several hundred families in my area who had this happen. As a result, things have been pretty tight lately because when these things happen, the government isn't willing to reimburse you right away or fix your benefits right away. We were charged for a new card and told to suck it up. So, on top of that, I've been having some really severe back issues. I thought I was having kidney stones because I've had frequent kidney stones and kidney infections in the past. And that ended up being mostly clear. They said it was probably a kidney stone, but that they couldn't find it on a CT. And it just kept getting worse, and supposed to go see my doctor in a couple days, but what I'm finding out is that more than likely, with some of my other physical health conditions contributing, obviously, my spinal cord injury is essentially causing increased damage to my back over time. From what I'm gathering, it weakens certain structures that are weakening other structures because of having EDS and having thin connective tissue and everywhere. Added with that, some of my other health conditions, having bad knees, bad hips, obviously that can contribute to a bad lower back. I've had sciatica for years, and now it's getting to the point where I'm having pain spells to the point where I can't walk. I had experienced literally the worst pain in my life, except for whenever I had an infected ulcer in my colon. Literally worst pain of my life other than that very recently, and it was whatever is going on with my lower back. From the middle of my back around my kidneys down to my tailbone, feels like it's crumbling, for lack of a better word. I've been told that I may have one or more slipped or herniated discs, but it's hard to tell. Unfortunately, I don't do well whenever it comes to CT or MRIs. Because of my back, it's hard for me to sit for CTs and MRIs. I had to have an MRI while I was pregnant last summer, and it was excruciating to have to lie on my back like that on a piece of hard plastic. And besides that, I'm allergic to CT contrast, so they can't use it whenever they do CT scans on me. So they tend to avoid doing a lot of CTs on me in general. Whenever they do use contrast, I have to get IV Benadryl, an obscene amount repeatedly over several hours to make sure that I don't go into anaphylactic shock. It's a pain in the ass. So we've got nothing on imaging. We don't know exactly yet what's going on with my back. I may or may not have to buy a wheelchair in the near future. I'm kind of looking at my options. I've been what I would consider to be a part-time wheelchair user before when I was younger. Um, while it's better than not being able to get around and sitting in bed all the time, I much more prefer to be able to go where I want to go and do what I want to do. I'm a very active person, and I really enjoy hiking and swimming and doing a lot of other things. And swimming isn't as hard whenever you're having like joint issues or back issues some of the time, because the water kind of helps lessen the weight that's on your body, if that makes sense. Like, the buoyancy is very helpful. That's why a lot of physical therapists recommend aquatherapy. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now. A prescription for a lidocaine patch for my lower back, since we found out about 9 months ago that I wasn't allergic to lidocaine anymore. Which is its own story. Thank you, mast cell activation syndrome, for being a fucking dick. Yeah. I have a prescription for lidocaine patches for my back and a follow-up appointment. Otherwise, I've been told that my option is to go back into physical therapy, which I've tried before, and I have been told that because of how my natural range of motion is due to constant hyperextensions, most forms of physical therapy are nigh impossible for me to do properly. And last time I was in physical therapy for a very long period of time, the only thing that they were able to actually do, because it was something that they had to do before anything else, was they had to attempt to essentially re-teach me how to walk, which I had to do that anyway, because at the time I was dealing with partial paralysis on my right side. I had to relearn to walk, and I had to relearn how to do pretty much every other major movement, like with my limbs, and they couldn't really get past that point because I hyperextend my limbs constantly. I hyperextend my back constantly. If you're familiar with what a Biden scale is, my usual range is 7 out of 9. I am your textbook example of Ehlers-Danlos syndrome hypermobility type, with some classic-like symptoms as well. It sucks. It sucks. Part of me really has always thought my body is a prison, and that part of the reason why I have such a compulsion and such a need to write, create, speak, talk about any of the things that I've been through or that I've done, is because if I can't physically do what I want, the least I can do is make something, do something. I can't, I can't make a travel blog where I'm going all around the world, both due to financial and medical constraints. I can't hike to the tallest mountains, and, I can't even ride a bike, so I can't, go through triathlons and explore and have these amazing adventures. Whether I have something to show for it or not, I can't physically. Through my words and through my voice, through the images that I was able to create whenever I was doing digital art and drawing and body modification and things like that, through that I can at least have some meaning to my life and some expression, some beauty to it. I can make meaning out of my pain, whether it's worth it or not. Doesn't really matter, it's out there. Just like these videos, even the ones I delete, it's in the ether, if that makes sense, from like a psychological and religious standpoint. A lot of people really believe that there is something in just saying something, putting energy into something, you know. That's why I believe in certain things like prayer and certain things like that. If you tell the truth and if you tell a story that has heart and has meaning to it, if you pour your being into something, anything, eventually it will be appreciated. And it doesn't matter if it's appreciated by large amounts of people. If the right people get it, then they get it. I don't know if that makes sense to other people, but it makes sense to me. There are a lot of things that I have been struggling with lately, both internally and externally, because unfortunately whenever you have health problems, it causes ripple effects into your mental health and into your relationships and everything. My OCD-like symptoms and compulsions have been getting much worse. I've been biting my nails almost constantly. I've been cracking my knuckles and fidgeting with my hands almost constantly. Intrusive and compulsive thoughts as well. Nervous muscle spasms and tics. Admittedly, just anxiety and depression. I'm not sure whether all of that is due to situational, whether some of that is just natural, chemical, whatever. You know, I could chalk how I'm feeling physically and mentally up to a bunch of things, from the upcoming birthday of two people who I really used to love, to the train collision in Ohio, crash collision. I don't know the specifics, I just know it's environmentally horrible, and it's basically like 5 TMIs all thrown together, and I live close enough to 3 Mile Island and to the Susquehanna River, which is just destroyed, to know that, this stuff is never good for anyone in the long term. And as much as I am not a conspiracy theorist, I have to acknowledge that the government and scientists usually don't know the extent of these events until decades later. So even if they wanted to, they can't tell us the truth about how harmful this is. Is it safe to let my kids go play out in the backyard on their playset after it rains? Is it safe to drink tap water? Like, I'm in Pennsylvania, I'm not in Ohio, but it's one state over. We're getting the same rain that they're getting there. I have a grandmother who ended up with mysterious, random, supposedly thyroid issues right after 3 Mile Island happened, just like a lot of other people in this area. Randomly afterwards, there were huge surges in the amount of cancers and the amount of mutations in local fish populations, and miscarriages and stillbirths, mental health issues, heart defects. Again, lots of thyroid issues, lots of cancers, lots of pediatric cancers. But it has nothing to do with 3 Mile Island, and it has nothing to do clearly with the mine collapse upriver and all of the radiation and just shit from that got swept into our drinking water. I digress. I don't like how our society currently treats the environment. I don't like it. I don't like how people treat each other, just in general. I don't really like how people treat me a lot of the time. Whether it's how people treat me, how much my back hurts, how much my everything hurts. Seizures, heart palpitations, everything that I deal with as a chronically ill person. Whether it's relationship problems, the weather, the environment going to shit, politics going to shit, everything going to shit. Every single time I feel like this, parts of me want to despair, and I want to just let the anxiety envelop me until my brain is just a tinfoil ball rolling around in a microwave, emitting sparks. But I still want to have hope. I want to have hope that I'll wake up tomorrow and my back won't hurt as much as it did today. Or that if I have to get a wheelchair, at least it'll be a cool one and I can pick the fucking color. Get spikes on the handlebars so people aren't tempted to fucking push me around, quite literally. Maybe even get a cool bumper sticker or some like jewelry and shit to put on it. That'd be pretty awesome. You know, dreaming that I'm able to get Hershey Park passes for my kids and my partner and I with my tax return, because they support trans rights. They're close enough that we can visit every weekend, and my son's never been to a theme park before. I want to give him a good summer before he starts kindergarten. You know, I will forever have hope. I will forever remember that for every pain in my body and everything that holds me down, that literally cripples me, or just every anxiety that makes me afraid, there is something in me that is resilient, something in me that is strong, something in me that is beautiful and wise, something that is ageless and as strong and as dark as these mountains that surround the valley that I live in. I want to hold on to that. I want to live for the knowledge that for every shitty, cloudy Pennsylvania day, there will be a blue sky. It may not always be even, because let's be real, Pennsylvania's always fucking rainy. But it'll be there. For every time that I want to give up, I'll be able to push through and see my children smile. That's what matters. That's why we do all of this, right? Because as horrible as life can be, as much as things can suck, there's always a silver lining. The duality of nature will never let you be in the dark alone forever. There will always be a light at the end of the tunnel. Even if you just have to find a crack in the wall and start shoveling. There is hope. I wish, honestly, happiness, health to every single person listening to this. I hope that your bad days get better. I hope that whenever you are hurting, there is something to still remind you that it gets better. It's okay. alright. And for once, because I feel like ending this in a toast, I'm going to actually smoke and record it. Cheers to all of you. Stay safe.